High ticket closers, it has come to my attention that there are a number of sales coaches in the space that do not have a portfolio of full length, real live sales call recordings of their own to prove that they actually have the capability to close themselves. I have now made it my mission to change this and make the sales space genuine again. And I am going to be the sales coach with the number one highest amount of full length, real sales call recordings when I was closing on a variety of offers, not closing for my own business, not closing for my own coaching, because that is an entirely different story. Now, in this video, you are going to see me handle a type A, highly egotistical prospect that says he's in a good, great position, doesn't necessarily have much pain, doesn't necessarily have much urgency, but you will see how I confront and challenge him to uncover the layers of the conversation and take it from logistics to emotion to identity, and then toward the back end, when he gives me an I need to go away and think about it objection, how I overcome that objection to finally get him one call closed at the end of the call. I know a lot of you guys struggle with these kinds of leads, but this call right here will change the way of which you operate. If you find this useful, I have my links down in the description. You can head to my Instagram and shoot me a direct message there to have a chat, or head to my Calendly link to book in an introduction call. We can both jump on for 20 minutes, get to know each other better first. I can figure out where you're at closing at the moment, where you're looking to take things, and whether it would be a good fit for us to work together. If you're not familiar with myself, by the way, my name's Ethan. I've been a high ticket closer since September 2024, and within the span of 1 year, I cash collected upwards of $20,000 to $30,000 a month in commission and worked on a high ticket sales offer that was pulling $6 million in new cash per month. And I personally cash collected $56,062 in 1 day. So it goes without saying that I know what I'm talking about, and if this video isn't evidence of that, I don't know what is. Let's jump into the call review. For context, this sales call was actually taken back in April 2025, so my skills have vastly developed since then and improved from the skills that you are going to see on this call. However, the importance and the reasoning as to why I'm showing you this is the identity that you embody on your sales call will close far more than any script, word track, or analogy you understand and can use. Because state-based selling is the foundation and the key to actually getting to the $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 a month mark in commission, bar none. You will see that even over a year to a year and a half ago, I was still showing up and holding my prospects to a high standard, challenging them to the level that I know would empower them to finally step into a decision that would benefit their life, and not allowing them to continue to externalize the reasoning behind why they weren't going to move forward. You need to stop being soft on your sales calls if you actually want to close more. Now, let's dive in and see myself in action back in April 2025.
We're in business. How are we doing, Aviv?
How are you doing, my friend? Can you hear me well? All good?
Yeah, all good. Can you hear me and see me all fine?
Yeah, all good.
Fantastic. Let me just let the team know that you're here. Just give me 1 second.
All right, no problem.
Boom, boom, boom. So obviously these calls tend to go for about an hour long. Are we good on that for time without any constraints or interruptions?
Yeah, definitely. Pretty good.
Sweet. So, I mean, realistically, what I've seen works best on these calls is I just want to start by finding out a little more about yourself. So the purpose being I want to kind of figure out where you're at currently, and then obviously where it is you'd like to go in regards to your Amazon business. I mean, you may have seen from some of Andrew's content that we have helped a lot of people, but there are some people that we can't necessarily help. I mean, I hope you understand that. Once I'm 100% confident by the end of our conversation.
So I'm going in with a classic frame here. So this was selling for an Amazon FBA offer at the time. One choice of language that I wouldn't use now going forward is, you'll notice I just said, if I'm 100% confident, then we can move forward with XYZ. I would refrain from using that form of 100% confident language, because you can't necessarily be 100% confident with anything before you've started, as you don't know for certain what the outcome is going to be. So if we begin to use the language that we need to be 100% confident before we move forward with something, before we discuss something, that is buying into the ideology that perhaps the prospect themselves would need to feel 100% confident before taking a step forward. That isn't the case. The issue here is that the individual needs to become empowered enough to acknowledge that even when they're only 70 to 80% confident, they're still willing to face up to that uncertainty and move forward regardless. And that is the ideology that we're here to push now on our sales call. I didn't quite have that level of knowledge back here, but just letting you guys know for future reference.
That what we do here can actually help you, then I'll run through the mentorships details top to bottom. You can fire over any questions. Then obviously, if it seems like a great fit for yourself, we can chat about the next steps. Is that cool?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. I mean, just to start out then, what is the biggest reason that you're wanting to grow and get into Amazon FBA?
Yeah, so I live in the United States. I live in California, which is very expensive. I have a job, all good, and I'm making good money, all good. It's not that I'm like starving for money, but
one of these classic prospects that I'm sure you guys have dealt with, the person who's fine. No, things are good. Good money, not starving for cash. Things are good. And I know for a fact that a lot of you guys struggle with these kind of prospects because then you feel as though, oh man, there wasn't any level of urgency. There wasn't any level of pain. That simply isn't the case. And the way in which we uncover the pain and we build the urgency and we develop that gap is through challenging the use of their language to cause this house of cards to collapse. Because if everything was great, if everything was good and it was all sunshine and rainbows, they wouldn't be on the call with you in the first place.
A person that is always looking for more ways to make more money, to achieve my goals. At the end of the day, I don't see myself working 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I'm always thinking about what kind of business I can open, how I can invest more in myself, and just try new directions to make more money, like to just throw myself out there, to invent myself.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what is it you do for work?
So I do basically construction. I'm not the person that's doing the construction. I'm a project manager.
Okay.
So I do sales, which means that I will go to a client that wants to remodel his home, kitchen, bathroom, addition, whatever it is, and I will sell him the contract, and then I will manage the project. So I'm not the guy with the actual hammer. I'm the guy that sells. So I'm in sales as well. I know a lot about sales. I'm a salesperson at the end of the day. So I'm not working 9 to 5. As you can see, I'm at my apartment right now. I'm working commission based. So sometimes it can be, I can make more money. Sometimes I can make less money.
Yeah, it's sales dependent in essence. I mean, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. It's very interesting. It's difficult. You need to work super hard to make money. You can make a lot of money by doing this if you're good at that. But it's a lot of up and downs. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes you can find yourself at home not doing anything because you don't have a lot of projects. So I'm like, okay, wow, I have a lot of time. I can be in my house playing some PlayStation, or I can invest myself doing something else and get an extra income. Right now, with all the tariffs, with Trump and everything, so right now it's a little bit harder. So
luckily, that actually doesn't really impact what we do here. Like, obviously, had a much larger impact on drop shipping and things like that, where we're sourcing products from China overseas. That's where the tariff.
Not sure why I brought this up. I would have refrained from this. Nowadays, I feel as though back then that was being quite a common logistical objection, so I probably just wanted to quickly pre-handle it by effectively stating how that didn't impact the business model he was looking into, but not necessarily the relevant choice of topic here as of yet to dive on.
Tariffs have kind of had quite a big hit. Luckily for us, when it comes to Amazon FBA, because we're sourcing most of our stuff, from reliable American sources the vast majority of the time, it's not actually had that big of an impact. I mean, the one question I have is, by the sounds of things are going pretty well. I mean, what's the main reason that you're looking to start a business rather than just, focusing more on this job so that you can continue making good money?
This right here is the most important question that you can ask a prospect like this, because the salesman, the salesman vibe that people tend to fall into is trying to sell your service as a solution to their problem. Well, look, this is going to provide you XYZ. This is going to provide you XYZ additional freedom, XYZ this, XYZ that. However, what we really need to do is completely flip that on its head and lean out from the prospect. Because if we lean out, they will lean in. So I am now adopting the frame of you sell me on why you should do this. I'm not here to sell you. on why you should do it. Because if everything's good, if everything's great, why are we even on this call? That's the frame that I will take going forward, and you'll see how that plays out.
Focusing on what I'm doing right now? Or,
Yeah.
what I'm
Focusing on
doing
what you're
right
doing
now?
right now.
Because again, it's not always that easy. You need to work super, super, super hard. I have no problem to work hard, but at the end of the day, it's not my business. I'm working
Right.
for something, for someone. And to open a business by yourself in that kind of industry, it's a life dedication.
Right.
It's like 5 to 10 years that you need to be super precise.
Mhm.
And I'm 28, by the way, and
I'm
I'm not
27.
yeah, so amazing. So I'm not really looking to invest my entire life on it right now, and I'm not that kind of person that just chasing after money. I don't care about money. I'm saying because we don't care about money.
Yeah.
I care about inventing myself, do something that I like.
Mhm.
And
I mean,
some
what specifically, sorry, about working for someone
yeah.
else bothers you?
So now I'm going to gain clarity on really the primary issue that he brought up, because he contradicted himself immediately by saying it's not easy, but I don't mind the fact that it's not easy because I'm a hard worker. You'll notice that type A personalities like this, that is very often what they will do. They will usually talk about themselves quite a lot. Like, this individual has already said he's a hard worker, he makes good money, he's not the guy with the hammer, he's the guy that's on the sales front that actually helps with the property, etc. Like, he's talking a lot about himself unwarranted. Like, I haven't actually asked those questions. He's just deciding to bring them into the conversation because, of course, there's definitely a level of ego there. And it's this level of psychoanalysis that you need to be doing within the first 2 minutes of speaking to your prospects so that you know exactly how to maneuver the conversation going forward. Sales isn't a one size fits all solution. We can't just use one specific framework for every single prospect. You have to adapt the conversation dependent on the individual themselves.
Um, it, it it's not bothers me, but I got to a point. I'm doing it for about a little bit more than 3 years,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of factors to this kind of business. And I'm like, wow, I'm professional enough. I'm a good salesperson.
Mhm.
I can do it by myself and make double that what I'm making right now. But again, I don't want to go and open a business.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, sometimes I find myself just sitting at home and not doing much. So I want to do more.
Yeah. And you
I
said
want
there that so you could set up your own like construction contracting business and make twice as much as you're making now, did you say?
yeah, of course.
What about that hard work and dedicating yourself to your own business on that front is stopping you from really wanting to do that?
See, once again, I am not selling our service. I'm leaning out on him because he's just told me if he were to start his own business, he could make twice as much as what he's making now. Why aren't we just doing that then? Unpack that for me. You explain to me why we are on this call, why those other ulterior options that you seemingly say are great and good, why aren't we doing those?
Because first of all, it's very, very tricky. There are a lot of factors. It's not just open a business and that's it. You're a millionaire. It takes time. It takes time, and and it's very risky. You can invest a lot of money and lose a lot of money pretty quick.
Mhm.
So maybe in the future, but right now at where I am with my personal life as well, it's not
Mhm.
something that fits me.
Yeah, because I was going to say kind of what you said there, that's near enough all business. All
Yeah.
business takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of input, and it also will always come with a level of risk. Are
Yes.
we talking, are we talking millions? Are we talking very, very big risk? Is that kind of the factor that would
To start
enter?
that kind of business, you need to start with around 35 to $50,000, give or
Okay.
take, and then you really need to invest yourself in every work. You need to invest yourself and to
Yeah.
dedicate. I'm a hard worker. I'm not looking to type some on some I don't
Yeah.
know, on a keyboard and make 50,000 money. It doesn't work like that.
No.
There's no magic. Um, but what is entitled in this kind of business just not suits me. You need to
Mhm.
when you open the business, you need to put a lot of money on marketing, and we're
Yeah.
not talking about $5,000. You need to put $25 to $50,000 per month. So it takes a lot of
Yeah.
time.
Huge initial input then to really get it off the ground and get the result you're after. I mean,
Yeah.
you said you've been in this now for 3 years then. So how long has it been where you've known that you wanted to have your own business, like Amazon FBA, for example, and get this off the ground for?
So now that I've clarified the reasons behind why he cannot or does not want to do these other ulterior options that he said could be good or could be great. We've checked those off. Okay, so now they're not potential objections, or well, I could just go and do XYZ instead. Now I'm going to get very crystal clear concept, get a very crystal clear concept on the timeline behind the goal. Because my reasoning behind this is if we establish a timeline in regard to how long he's wanted to do something like this, then what has held him back from doing it sooner?
You're talking about the Amazon business?
Well, I mean, let's just say regardless of Amazon FBA specifically, how long have you wanted to just have your own online business?
That is very specific as well. We never want to fixate on the service or the offer that we are selling, because then he would minimize that timeline. Because if I were to say, how long have you wanted to start an Amazon FBA business, he could then say, oh, well, I've only really been looking into this specifically for like the last 1-2 months. But if I were to say, as I have done here, well, how long have you wanted to have your own online business that could make you a remote income? That's always now going to be a larger, broader timeline, which stops them from minimizing the real goal behind taking a step like this.
Oh, forever.
Boom.
I was
Forever. There we go.
trying to think what I can do, because I'm a very talented person and I'm a very understanding, and it's easy for me to understand things. Like if you will teach me something, it will be super easy for me to do it. So I have the right skills. So I want to feel that I literally, how am I going to say, like literally using all of my skills
Yeah.
to achieve my goals.
I mean, you said forever. How actually long is that?
So there we go. Now we're going to quantify the timeline, because forever, it is very broad, but genuinely, how long has that been?
Let's say about 5 years.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, 5 years since I'm like more independent and more,
yeah. And obviously, I mean, if you've wanted to do this for 5 years, what have you tried up to now?
Here we go. So now I have the timeline. We've quantified it. I can now get context on what he's tried to resolve this problem to achieve his goal.
No, I haven't tried.
Why not?
That was a very direct question. Now, in this regard, as this individual is a very type A prospect who seems to be quite high ego, I feel as though I need to have that authoritative frame with him and be quite direct and blunt. But for the most part, I would refrain and suggest that you don't use why not questions like that, or generally any why question for that matter in regard to that question. I would rather you say, how come? Or what has stopped you from putting anything in place up to now? So a what or a how question. The reason being, a why question is naturally confrontational. You could probably hear it just from how blunt it came across there. Why not? And if we're really going to go into the psychology behind that, a why question forces the individual to take full internal responsibility and accountability for the reasoning behind the question in and of itself, as a why question is directed at them. Whereas well, what has held you back from taking those necessary steps still allows a level of externalization, because the what question separates it from them to a degree. So that's why what and how questions don't land quite as directly or heavily as why questions. And usually I would save the why question to something positive, like why are you now ready to take a step like this in your life? Because that why question is an empowering one rather than a challenging, confrontational one.
Because where I'm at in my personal life right now, it doesn't fit me. It doesn't fit my lifestyle right now. I'm focusing on other stuff.
In what way, if you don't mind me asking?
Because that was a very vague answer. Not going to settle for vague answers. You never should.
Personal stuff mainly, and second, I'm starting to think if this is what I want to do. Like, okay, seeing myself as a project manager for the next 10 years. I don't know. Like, I want to have enough money to buy real estate, flips, that kind of business. Very different. So, like for now, I'm making enough money. I'm making enough money and good money to like to just to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
So
but you say there that you've wanted to have your own online business for the last 5 years, and that this job, it's it's providing well, but you don't feel satisfied that you're padding someone else's pockets realistically with the lump share. What about? I mean, I'm not asking you to divulge things that you don't want to, but have there been consistent personal issues over the whole of the last 5 years that have been getting in the way of you doing something like this?
Because he was quite vague once again and he said personal issues, that isn't anything clear. That doesn't actually give me any context. Usually, when people do that, it could be genuine, perhaps something quite traumatic or personal has happened that they're not quite forthcoming to share as of yet. I've only been speaking to him for the last 10 minutes. But I'm now just going to pick apart that ideology that it's been personal issues that have held him back, because have those personal issues been present for the entirety of the last 5 years? If they haven't, then what was holding you back from taking action outside of the instances where the personal issues were there?
Sometimes it is just the issue with this job that you can work sometimes super, super hard
Mhm.
and not seeing results. So I'm looking for a job that is more stable, that I can invest and put some more effort, but see results consistently.
Yeah.
That's it. Because in this kind of job, you can work for 4 months,
Mhm.
not seeing money, work for another 3 to 5 months, and see another 60 grand.
Yeah.
So it's not stable.
So it's
I'm
big
looking
highs but big lows.
Exactly. So I'm looking for more stability and to grow accordingly as well.
Yeah, but you said that you're actually not sure whether this is something you want to do or whether you do want to stay with the contracting. I mean, the one thing I will say to you, and you've probably seen from Andrew as well, like we don't really sugarcoat things around here. Like you mentioned, like you understand that regardless when it comes to getting your own business off the ground, it's going to take hard work.
Yeah,
It require a strong level of commitment.
definitely,
In fact, I'd say you've got to, you've got to push all your chips across the table if we're being honest.
definitely.
So is this
I'd also refrain just from using that language pattern if we're being honest. I would just cut that out of your dialogue and my dialogue. I no longer use that, because the moment we say if we're being honest, it implies that there has been a point in the conversation or that there are points in life where I am not honest. And it doesn't seem like a big issue, but subconsciously this language is picked up on. And the moment you say, if we're being honest, that individual can then internalize the thought pattern that this person has instances in which they're not honest. Has he done that on this call? Is this a rare instance of him being genuine? So we want to just remove that.
something that you want to do, or do you want to stick with the contracting?
And I've just hit him with this direct question because he gave me a wishy-washy if. He was like, I'm like figuring out like whether this is something that I want to do, whether I do want to stay with this. So I've just asked him directly because look, at the end of the day, you need to know whether that's what you want to do or not. The longer you sit here twiddling your thumbs trying to decide what you want, the longer you stay stuck.
The contract in you're saying what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, definitely. I want to invest myself in something that is require hard work. All good. Let's put it on the table. I'm a hard worker, but something that I see results. Like I
Yeah.
see consistent results, and I have the time. So I want to try something new. And if over time I see results consistently and I'm making good money, man, I live in California. I live in the most expensive city in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm making good money, so definitely, you see more money, you want to grow more. You see more money, you want
course.
harder.
Because I was going to ask, like, you don't mind if I just be a little bit direct with you, do you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a permission statement. So the moment I ask a question like that, I'm opening up the conversation. It's a little bit similar to when you hear people say, do you mind if I share a perspective? I prefer now going with, do you mind if I give you some feedback? Or do you mind if I were to just speak with you as if we were brothers? Or do you mind if I chatted to you as if we were family? Or here, do you mind if I just be straight and direct with you? All have a very similar effect.
So I'm sure you know, like, you can get knowledge at, the drop of a hat in today's day and age, if we're being straight up. I mean, what is it that has actually stopped you from going out of your way over the last 5 years to get the knowledge or a mentorship like this earlier that you needed so that you could already have your own online business?
Yeah.
Boom. Straight in with the question as to what's held him back. Because whatever this limitation is, whether it be internal or external, is exactly what we need to unpack and overcome if he is to move forward and be successful this time around.
I think financially I was not ready.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wasn't ready financially because you need.
Could you clarify that for me a little bit?
Yep. Once again, what does that mean? Financially, I wasn't ready. That could mean so many various things. We need clarity. So you always ask a clarifying question if you don't have a crystal clear concept of what they mean.
Because you need you need to have a lot of cash available in order to start a business. We're talking about.
You don't actually need that much cash when it comes to starting an online arbitrage business. That's the thing.
So here you go. You'll notice This is what I mean about challenging your prospects. Like, I am unpacking these reasons or these excuses that he gives because they're baseless. They aren't the real underlying issue as to why he hasn't moved forward. So I need to peel back these layers of externalization that he's going to put in front of himself for us to finally get to the root cause with each other.
Like we're not.
We're talking about Amazon FBA specifically.
Well, there's a few, Amazon FBA is one of the avenues, and it's the one that obviously you are interested in. But there's a lot of online businesses that, people are able to start up, which don't require, a huge lump sum of capital.
Yeah.
So in regards to that, then, like capital aside, what is it that stopped you from looking into those avenues like this?
Boom, look, unpacked and now pinpointed back on you. That excuse that you've just given doesn't have a leg to stand on because you can start many businesses without a huge amount of capital to begin with. So what's held us back from starting those?
For example?
Yeah, because I started this job, what I'm doing right now, and look, it's going pretty well. I'm not like I'm making good money, all good.
There's the pushback again. Oh no, I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. This is how we get them.
But I just started a business and it's a lot of work, so I couldn't split myself. I'm a person that if I'm doing something, oh, I'm sorry, someone's calling me. Let me hang up because I have a MacBook. Okay, good.
Yeah, it'll pop up, doesn't it? It takes the screen. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of busting your balls a little bit, but there is a reason for this. I mean, you said there that you didn't have the time. Obviously, you've been focusing on what you are doing at the moment, in essence, what you have been doing over the last 3 years. But if you've known for the last 5 years that this is the dream life you want to live and you want to have your own online business, then why did you not make it a priority in your life and, allocate more time to this?
Oh, look how pinpoint precise I am being with my questions. This is the level you should be operating at as a high ticket closer. This is the level you need to reach in order to break through your sales plateaus. Bear in mind, this was over a year ago in my sales career. I have had a year and a half more skill development and worked with a number of various different mentors, worked on a number of different offers since this point, and this was the identity and the standard that I held even back then. So if this doesn't go to show the levels that are within sales and the levels you can reach, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably I didn't have the guts to stand up and say, okay, right now I'm on my own.
There we go. Look how many layers I had to peel back to finally get to the internal reason from this individual because he had a guard up. And now he's finally admitted after me challenging, he didn't have the guts. And this is the problem. A lot of you guys will not challenge enough to get to that point. And that is why your conversations stay surface level. And that is why these type A prospects don't have any level of urgency by the time you get to the end of your call and they go away and continue to think about it.
And I'm on my own, believe in yourself, believe in your skills, and go and do it.
Yeah.
Probably that's the main reason because I was trying, like all of us, I was trying to stick with what is.
I would definitely pull him up on the language nowadays. I don't believe I catch it here, but he's saying probably. When you hear a prospect say probably, what is the reasoning behind that? It's a way for them to slightly diminish the ownership. Like, oh, it was probably this. So a very easy language pattern is the moment you hear your prospect say probably, you just go, well, is it probably or is it definitely? And then they'll correct themselves and say, it was definitely that. Because if they go, probably, then I would go, well, which is it? Like, is it probably or was it that? Because if it's probably, then what else could it have been? Like, we want them to take full ownership of that internalization. And the only way in which they can do that is by saying that was definitely the reason.
Is,
what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. It's like I have a friend that his dream is to become an actor. So recently, he threw everything, got fired from his job and moved to LA. And it's a big
it's a huge leap.
And he didn't do it. And I asked him, man, why you didn't do it? I don't know, 3-5 years ago. And he told me, look, I was not stable financially and I needed to make money. It's not.
And now he's made that jump. Is he happier?
It's getting there. I have a friend, my brother's friend. He moved to New York.
So now in my mind, because he's brought a personal anecdotal tale and story into the conversation, The frame that I was trying to go down here is to now use that personal anecdote as a way to emphasize and demonstrate that if his friend made this big, bold change, this big, bold transition into a newfound career that he was originally hesitant about taking, did it pay off in the end? Did he feel better for it? Because that could then be a reflection of his same experience if he were to do the same.
10 years ago, he used to eat through everything. He went all in. He used to eat pizza slice every day for $1 because what he had.
Wow.
Now, right now he's worth around the 50 million.
Well,
So,
there we go. Yeah.
yeah. So
That's the thing. And I mean, what I was going to say there is like, don't worry because that is totally normal. You know, a lot of people get stuck in that comfort zone. And the question I have though is, do you feel
that's me normalizing him taking ownership of that internal limitation? Because we don't want any individual to feel a level of shame attached, which could then make them feel isolated and guarded. So I will always normalize the fear because it is completely normal. We all have fear in our lives. We don't become fearless. We just gain a capability to combat the fear and to face up to the uncertainty and take action despite it still being present.
Like if you keep holding on to that comfortability that you'll ever be able to actually get to your goal?
Now I am creating cognitive dissonance effectively. I am taking the fear and I am separating it from who he is as an individual. So not having the guts, being scared to take the step, that isn't who you are. That is a part of you that we can now isolate, bring into the light. And what that creates is it builds a dynamic in which it's no longer you versus the prospect. It's you and the prospect versus the fear that we have now isolated and separated. And the way in which we do that is by emphasizing the fact that if we don't break this concept, if we don't break from this identity and this ideology, are we ever going to be able to get to our goals, firstly?
So no, I feel that I'm in a point in my life when I want to to break the glass, to try new things, you know?
There you go, break the glass. He's even used an emotive terminology for that himself.
And what does breaking the glass look like for yourself?
Boom, and now I'm going to get context on that emotive ideology.
To cross bridges, you know, just to try new things, to throw yourself between different different options to make more money. Like I was trying to learn more about dropshipping a few like a year or 2 years by myself on YouTube, and I saw that it's a lot of work, and I couldn't find the right mentoring. Look, and I'll be honest with you, you do have a lot of mentoring on Instagram, offers that and this course and everything. And look, I've been there. Okay, I wanted to learn more about the stock market, about training, like a course online. It didn't give me anything. So
So he's now brought into the conversation another potential objection, which could be a burnt in the past objection or a lack of trust that if he were to invest, he'd get the necessary help that he's looking for. So we need to be picking up on this language and making sure that we then pre-handle the objection once it's immediately been brought into the conversation. Because if we don't address it and have an open conversation now, it has a high probability of coming up after you've dropped the price in a much harder environment to deal with.
Very difficult to find yourself because there's a lot of information and enough people over there. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that if I'm putting my money somewhere, it's someone that I can trust.
100%. I mean,
there you go. Boom. If I'm putting my money somewhere, I need to be sure that it's somebody I can trust. But what concept, what system is he having or putting in place in order for that to be the case? Because how can you actually ever truly know whether you can trust somebody until you've started to find out what the results are?
I mean, there's two things for me to kind of pull up there. Number one, it's already a big step for you to push out of your comfort zone and break out of the job that you've been in for the last few years and actually, pursue this path to get the career that you've really been wanting. But it also takes a lot of guts to, try something if you've already had a negative experience in the past. Like you said there, you've tried a mentorship before. It didn't give you what you were looking for. It didn't get you the results you were after. Why then do you feel as though, you're ready to take that risk again and jump on a mentorship like this with Andrew?
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, I'm now focusing on that, bringing that into the conversation. So you've mentioned there that we've actually had a negative experience in the past. So why are you now ready to take a step like this regardless, even given that fact?
Because I'm more stable financially right now. I can allow myself. And I understand how much it's important for me to invest in myself and put the hard work and put the extra work. And that's the time when I feel ready, mentally.
And you said that there's a bunch of mentorships. What specifically about what we do here called out to you and made you think, these are the guys to trust?
Yeah. I looked on Andrew videos and it was pretty convincing to me.
So I'm not sure whether I am going to go down the ulterior path. I wouldn't necessarily go down this path now. What I would have instead gone down is what process are you using then to find out whether you can actually trust somebody before you started working with them? And how will you ever truly know at the end of the day? Because I'm instead going to unpack the ideology that he can build up this level of internal certainty before he's even taken the step, because that simply cannot be the case. You can look at as many testimonials, as many videos as you like, but you're never going to genuinely know what the outcome will be for yourself until you have taken the initial step to find out. And we have to have the individual acknowledge that. Otherwise, they're going to cling on to this concept that they need to be 100% certain before they move forward. And if they carry on thinking and acting and believing that, then they're never going to be able to take that first step.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, let's get more information about it, you know. And
100%. And obviously, in terms of kind of just jumping back towards that comfort zone, which, you know, I think we kind of got to it in the end where you said you just didn't have the guts. Really, was a blunt way of putting it. I mean, I don't mean to rub salt in the wound, but I mean, what do you feel as though you've missed out on over the last 5 years by staying within that comfort zone?
So now I'm highlighting the cost of holding on to that internal limitation. Once again, highlighting the fact that the internal limitation above all else is what has actually held us back, none of these externalizations.
Maybe.
Because I know you said, you know, the money's been good.
He didn't answer my question, and I should have just re-asked it. If you ask a question and the prospect perhaps maybe doesn't quite hear you or understand the question, I would just repeat the same question. Because I asked him, what has it cost him? And he said, maybe. So he thought I had asked, has it cost you? But it would be more powerful for him to actually go into the detail on what it has potentially cost him.
You're not struggling on that front. But if you can be like honest with me, what do you think you genuinely have missed out on?
Okay, there you go. So I did re-ask the question, just in a slightly different manner.
Like you're asking what I've been missing?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe by now, if I would put the extra effort and wouldn't be so scared about it, I would already have my own business, my own another income from whatever it is. But I didn't do it, and I'm not the kind of person that's looking on the past. I'm a very
There you go. So once again, now this is a pushback. So he was actually going into the real depth there, saying, oh, well, perhaps if I had not been so scared, if I hadn't held on to this internal limitation, I would already have XYZ goal, XYZ outcome. But, you know, I don't really like to talk about the past. Like, I'm the guy who looks toward the future. Like, that's because this conversation is now becoming relatively uncomfortable. And the moment somebody's mind begins to feel a level of discomfort, it's going to try and head back toward the comfortable conversation, the more surface level conversation, because that's an easier situation to be in.
you know, looking back, moving forward. That's the kind of person I am.
100%. I'm the same in that regard, but I do hold an emphasis on looking back to the past at times because that is required for us to light that fire at the end of the day. You know, there's that analogy about, you know, there's a kid chasing an ice cream truck. If he really wants ice cream, he's going to run a certain speed, you know, to catch up with the truck, get the ice cream. But if that kid's placed into a burning house and he sees the house falling apart around him, he's going to run way quicker to get out of that house than he is to chase out.
If I were to use an analogy like this time around, we would rather rephrase that analogy in layers as questions. So rather than just making a statement analogy to him like that, it would be, well, I suppose looking at it together like this, let's say there's two children, right? There's the one child, or let's say there's a child, right? On the one hand, he's chasing after an ice cream truck, which he hears. He's going to run a certain speed to catch after that truck, right? Because he's imagining how good the ice cream's going to taste. He loves ice cream. But then if we were to take that same child and put him inside a burning building, do you feel he'd run quicker or slower than when he was after the ice cream truck? Quicker. How come? Because like the cost of staying in a house is more. Like once you have them actually walk through the analogy with you, it makes it land a lot better than if you just say it directly to them as a statement.
After that ice cream truck. And the big thing here is we don't want to be the guy who's chasing the ice cream truck because you're not going to run as fast. You're not going to get the results like your friend did, where he was living off, you know, dollar pizzas, and then now he's worth, did you say 5 million? Was it even more?
Yeah.
So, and notice how I've brought his own personal anecdote back into this to emphasize the fact that at the end of the day, him saying, oh, but I don't really like to dwell on the past, isn't the way in which we need to be thinking.
That's the reason why sometimes I do like to kind of bring that up. I mean, in terms of you being at a point where you're ready to break the glass and ready to take a big leap out of your comfort zone.
Once again, using his own language back to him, this is why it's so important that you are an empathetic, active listener on your sales calls.
Like this, why now?
because I feel I'm ready.
Why?
See, now I'm getting the urgency, which is what you are missing on your sales calls. It's why people still hesitate toward the back end. Why are you now ready? Because I'm ready. Why? What's changed? I would have rephrased this to make it land smoother. So I would have said, what is it that's now actually brought you to this point where you are internally ready to break that glass and make this change? And if he was like, well, just because I'm ready. Well, I mean, I can appreciate you being ready, but like, what actually is it specifically that's changed?
I told you, I just feel ready mentally, financially. I'm like, okay, I can do more. Like,
Was there a catalyst of some sort? Because I mean, like, I'm talking like why today? You know, me and you on the call right now. What
because
made you
it's
book
gonna
the
be
call in and say let's go for it?
because I made a decision to give it my pure opportunity and to give it a chance. So here I am, you know,
Amazing.
here I
And
am.
and do
Now,
you feel as though you are now at that point where you're ready to kind of draw that line in the sand?
yeah, of course.
Sweet. Well, I mean, it's not of course. Like
To
that.
me, to me it is. To me it is. You know, if I wouldn't be 100% sure, we wouldn't talk right now.
Are you a
And
kind of are you an all or nothing guy normally?
what? Say again?
Are you an all or nothing guy
Yeah,
normally?
very much.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
very
the
much.
mindset you need in business. I mean, everything we've uncovered there, if I'm honest, I feel as though you're definitely in the
Notice how I am still using that terminology, if I'm honest, just highlighting it. Make sure you are not using that in your dialogue. Cut it out.
right frame of mind to go forward with something like this. That's honestly half of the battle. I mean, like we can give you the systems, the guidance, the accountability. If I'm honest, that's probably only about 30% of the battle. The 70% of the battle is overcoming those limiting beliefs that we spoke about, and you being that person who is willing to put their all 100% commitment into something like this, because they're the ones who get the big results at the end of the day. If I'm being totally upfront. So I mean, diving into your goals, I know, like we mentioned, money isn't the be all and end all, but it does make the world go round. I mean, how much would you need to be making then so that you can leave the job currently and then make this your full time career?
Now, a lot of people will have asked that exact question much earlier in their process, but because me and this individual very quickly got toward the limitation that had held him back, that is more important to uncover initially. This is why it is a framework that you are going to be using on your sales calls. It isn't a script. We don't follow these bullet point questions in the exact same order every single time. We maneuver, we adapt the conversation dependent on the individual. However, we have a structure because we still have check boxes that we know once we have checked off will enable this individual to have the highest probability chance of moving forward. So I am still keeping that in mind. So now we actually do need to get a level of analytics down so that we can really paint a clear picture.
Yeah. I told Andrew as well. I would say, look, and I'm not saying it's gonna take. It's not gonna be tomorrow. Definitely it takes time. All good, but realistically, minimum of the minimum, the 15,000 per month, minimum, like minimum of the minimum. I'm not a person that spending a lot of money. I'm not materialistic. I'm not looking to buy the craziest car and the most expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not kind of person. I'm not buying luxury watches,
Mhm.
and I'm not buying crazy clothes. I'm a
Yeah,
very
Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all that. It's not that type.
I don't give a fuck about it. I care about buy houses, do real estate, invest in myself, go to vacations. Um, so it needs to be worth for me. Like if I'm making, let's say 10,000, man, my monthly expenses are around 6 to 8 grand. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
I mean, okay. So let's say you finally overcome that comfortability. You get the guts that we've been needing. Let's be honest, for the last few years, and you do invest in yourself, so that Andrew and the team are able to get making $15,000 a month every month, which is got around what 160,000 a year. I think $1.6 million over the next 10 years. Like that's
I don't do this anymore, but this was a way for me to like glorify the goal. So we go from like month to year to 10 years to make it seem bigger and broader over an extended timeline. Unnecessary. I don't do that any longer. However, one thing you'll notice that I have done here is I have purposely highlighted the root issue once again being the internal limitation. So, like when you are now ready to overcome this, and therefore this will then happen because we have chosen to do so, taking it from there. All I am doing within my process is planting seeds of certainty which pre-handle fear from coming up at the end. Because if you don't pre-handle fear, you will not be able to overcome it once it shows its head in objections after you've dropped the price. Plain and simple. If you have not maneuvered your conversation earlier to have this initial certainty built into them so that you can lean back onto the earlier conversation toward the back end, you are not going to be able to close an individual.
That's a pretty big jump, especially because all of that's going into your pocket and no one else's. I mean, how would that actually change things for you? Like, what person would that allow you to become besides, just adding a few extra ones and zeros into the bank?
Tying it back to identity.
Good question. I feel that for me, I would feel much happier to do what I want, what I love, to work, to invest in something that is all mine. You know what I'm saying? And
100%.
that kind of feeling is everything to me. That you're doing, it's like what I'm doing right now. What I love about it, I'll be honest with you, I'm making good money, but it's not the money. It's not the money. What I like is to come to a person that wants to remodel his kitchen,
Mhm.
and have the person that is coming and give him ideas and giving them what they want, and to see their smiles on their face when I'm completing that kind of job. And I did it. That's everything to me. But right now, I want to be the person that I'm that having that smile because I did it for myself.
Yeah.
That's the whole difference.
100%. And how long have you really wanted that for?
Man, always.
Since you're a kid?
Yeah, always. Who doesn't? Like the other person. Do you know someone who told you, hey, I want to be, I don't know, to work in a 7-Eleven for example?
Well, I mean,
So I'm going to push back again. Look, you'll see. I challenge people when I don't believe what they are saying actually ties in to a relevant identity. Because what that is, inadvertently, is him externalizing once again. He's saying, I have always wanted to have my own thing in life. I have always wanted to be self-sufficient. And then he's like, who doesn't? Effectively saying it's not just about me. Everybody has these similar goals. Everybody wants to do this. But that isn't the case. The vast majority of the population work 9 to 5s, which is the complete antithesis and opposite of that. If everybody was fixated on working for themselves and being a business owner, they would have the necessary fire and urgency to go through the pain and suffering it takes to actually run their own business and make it happen for themselves. But they don't. So that's not the case.
You'd be surprised. There are a lot of people out there who do just work the 9 to 5. They go through the motions. They enjoy what they're doing. The simplicity, coming home, watching some Netflix.
Look, I know people, man. I know people that making enough money to to pay off the month,
Yeah.
to buy their weed. Weed is legal over here.
Yeah.
To buy the weed, to go to the parties and to buy the drugs, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're like $700 to $500 per month, and it's enough for them. But I'm thinking 5 to 10 years beyond.
That life doesn't satisfy you.
No, not at all, man. I mean, we have
See how I'm now tailoring the conversation once again back to him. Like, that life doesn't satisfy you.
Years on this planet, do something meaningful.
Well, me and you probably have a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
I mean, the one question I just had, sorry, is do you have a partner or anything like that, or is this all just for yourself?
Oh yeah, myself.
Yourself.
Just threw that in there as a pre-handle for a partner objection. I wouldn't do that now because that just seemed quite unnatural from me from this lens, but I feel as though I probably just flung that in because I thought, man, I haven't actually asked him whatsoever about his life situation earlier in the call in more of a natural manner, and we have to pre-handle a partner objection. Like, I'm not going to get to the end and then have that come up on me.
Yeah, this is fundamental. Okay. And I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm confident that Andrew and the team are going to be able to provide you the systems you've been looking for and the knowledge to fill the gaps that you're missing when it comes to setting a business like this up.
Okay.
If we're able to solve those issues specifically, would there be anything else getting in the way of you making $15,000 a month?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Great. Now, I mean, at this moment, if I'm honest, you've got to step up and do something different.
Wow, it is frustrating me beyond belief the amount of times I said, if I'm honest. That was like a verbal tick back then, which I have completely removed from my vocabulary now. And it really does go to show, like, the skill development in sales. A lot of it does come down to vocab development, like removing tick words. One tick word that I know I still have is the word like. I say that within sentences for no apparent reason. However, there definitely has been a huge decrease in me ever saying ahs, because all that represents is the fact that you don't necessarily know what you're talking about. It's like your brain having to cognitively slow itself down, so you add filler words into your vocab. Do not do that. You need to begin to notice whether you do that with yourself. highlight the filler words that you use, and then pick up on them every single time, because it makes the subconscious conscious so that you can then actually change your dialect and remove them from your vocab entirely.
Different, right?
Say again?
You've got to step up and do something different.
Oh, yeah.
Because what we're talking about, that $15,000 a month, that's the top mountain. And like you said there, everyone wants to get there. Everyone wants to make that money, but not everyone actually does. Like the only people who do get to the top of the mountain are the ones who draw that line in the sand, take responsibility for their current situation, decide, that it's time to make a real change, right? But like I mentioned earlier, lighting that fire under your ass, if I'm being totally frank, is about looking at the other side of the coin. And I do like to ask these challenging questions because the people who are able to answer them are the ones who can actually look inside and get the best results at the end of the day. So if you can, what happens if you don't take action and you do continue just working at the...
So that was me pre-introducing a consequence or a cost of inaction, as some of you might know it. We're now going to highlight what will happen if you don't actually overcome this internal barrier and you continue to make decisions the way you have done up to now, therefore not achieving XYZ goal that we've discussed.
The job you're currently at for the next, another 3 years, let's say, like you have done for the last 3 years. I mean, how's your life going to look if you don't make the choices you need to make to get to where you need to be?
Yeah, when we will get there, I will look back and I'll be disappointed for myself that I haven't tried, because we can try right now, and I'm believing myself. I'm a hard worker, all good. We talk about it, and maybe I won't get there. There's a chance. There's always a chance, but I prefer to come and take action, and making the decisions and give the people a chance to do that. And at least I would say, it's like to go and talk with the girl you like in the bar. You already have the no.
Yeah.
So what could I get wrong? You have the no. So go. It's either you're gonna get the no that you already have, or you're gonna get yes. So why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you don't take action,
for anybody that didn't understand what he meant there, when you go to cold approach a girl, you tell yourself that they've already said no. They're going to say no, but I'm going to approach regardless because there's a higher chance than zero of getting a yes if I still approach, but I'm not actually going to feel negative or bad about it because I already had the no.
then would you look back at this moment with regret, knowing that you could have made that jump and
Yeah,
a chance?
and of course, yeah.
Amazing. I mean, like, Aviv, I really appreciate you being very open with me in this conversation. Like, there has been a reason why I've been asking you all of these quite uncomfortable questions, I think it'd be fair to say. And it's just so that I could genuinely understand what drives you and, why this business is so important to you. And I can tell that you are someone who is really looking to achieve that freedom in your own life. But like I said before, the biggest challenge isn't learning how to sell on Amazon. Like, if I'm honest, that's the easy part. The hard part is overcoming, like, the fears, the procrastination, those limiting beliefs that have been holding you back from taking action for the past 5 years. And those doubts, like, they're not going to disappear. They are guaranteed to come back up again. And when that moment does come, you're going to be left with two choices, right? You can either go the left path, let the doubts creep back in, delay taking action, and then keep things going the way they are. Or you can take this right path, push through that fear, commit to the process, and finally take the steps you need to make to put yourself in control of your future. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the difference is what you choose to do. So the one question I do have to ask is, are you someone who's going to let that fear hold you back again? Or are you someone who's 100% ready to push forward and build this life that you've been talking about?
There's the issue with the 100% ready again, because I would no longer use that terminology now, as that isn't how people overcome fear. They don't get to a point where they're 100% ready before taking action. They get to a point where they can acknowledge that despite having a level of uncertainty still, they will take action regardless. That is what facing up to a fear actually is. So we can't buy into the ideology that it needs to be 100%. However, the reason as to why I've now dropped this in, which is just leading up to my pitch, is to once again pre-plant seeds of certainty, pre-handle that fear from coming up at the end, because now I have brought it so much into the spotlight. I have tailored the entire conversation now around this internal barrier and limiting belief that he has held onto as an individual, that if an objection does come up at the end, we can now highlight that the objection is not him in and of itself. It is this factor instead.
Yeah, so first the question. Second, I don't want to get too personal, but I've been through a lot of things during my life, and I have a very thick skin.
Yep.
Okay. So no, I'm not the kind of person that afraid. I'm not the kind of person that jumps into anything without, because I'm not telling you, hey, I will take every opportunity. I will jump into anything like a blind. No, I'm taking what you're saying. I looked on videos. I did my own research, and so when I'm saying the yes, so there's a thing that can hold me back, not fear. Okay, that's why I talked about. I'm saying a lot the word consistency.
Yeah. The question, the point I have there is, you said you're not someone who kind of jumps into things.
Yeah.
But there's two little points I have there. One is, would you agree that if you're looking at the water, right? Let me use a metaphor. You're not going to know whether it's warm or cold until you jump in.
Yeah.
So are you going to be the guy who stays stood on the shore and never finds out what temperature the water is? Or have you come to a point in your life where you are ready to take that jump and take that leap and risk?
Definitely ready, but before making the decision, you need to make sure that your foundations are strong enough. Okay, and I feel that my foundations are strong enough to make the jump.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. It's a very simple math to me.
Yeah, and are you, sorry, just for clarity, are you saying that that foundation didn't used to be there, but it now is, and that's allowed you to take?
Yeah, of course. It took me time until I built myself.
So there you go. I'm really just trying to maneuver with his language here to make sure that we're still not in that mindset that we need to have this logistical information gathering. We're not still in this logistical information gathering phase before we've reached that level of certainty. I'm here to clarify, like, have we already got that foundation? Have we already got ourselves to the point where we have already overcame that fear so that we are at a point in which we're ready to make the decision? Because there is no point in you pitching somebody until they have acknowledged that they are actually ready to move forward. Otherwise, you are signing yourself up to still have to deal with objections at the end.
I made money. You know, when I got into this business, man, it took me about a year to see money. It took me, man, I'm telling you, I have a family, all good. I'm not going to be on the streets, but 1 year until I made money, man, it's a lot of money that you can, again, I'm living in the most expensive city in the world. So it took me a lot of time, but I trusted the process. I have like a wallpaper on my phone. I had like a wallpaper, trust the process. And I know I have it in my, I have it saved.
You look at it and read it to yourself every day, just to instill that belief.
I opened my, no, I don't have it. I opened my phone every day and I was like, trust the process. And I trusted the process. And so I already had a proof that I'm the kind of person that can trust the process, be a hard worker, and see results.
100%. I mean, so I suppose the question is, would you like our help with that?
Definitely. That's why we're here.
Great. We've pretty much covered everything that needs to happen.
Boom. So now I have just cleared the pitch. So as you can see, I only pitch once I have planted those seeds of certainty, gotten already quite a strong buy-in from the other individual, a buy-in from the prospect, and then and only then do I feel as though they are at a position at which they are internally capable of moving forward, which is critical. Then I will pitch them as if, you know what, I believe you are personally ready and you are in a position at which, after I've pitched you and after you sign up, you will have the necessary identity, the necessary belief in yourself to actually make this a success, because that is more important than anything else. And this is after I have pitched, and we are now going to head into objections, as this individual still gave me an objection. So you will see how I handle that.
To be able to build a successful Amazon business and actually have the guidance to do it the right way. But I mean, the most important thing here for me is, are you 100% confident that this can get you the results you're looking for?
For what you're saying and telling me right now, sounds like you guys know what you're doing. Sounds like you're not just, I don't know, like trying. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to learn.
So he's still using uncertain language from what you're saying and telling me. That's him saying, from your words, that's what it would seem like. That isn't affirmative language on his behalf. He's then also saying, it would seem like I could get here. There's a very clear lack of certainty in the language he's still using straight after the pitch, and this is what we need to be picking up on to understand that he's definitely not in the buying pocket as of yet, and we have to pull him up on that language, which I don't believe back here I was quite as quick with, so I don't think I caught him on that language abruptly. We'll see.
To grow together, to make money. And from what I'm hearing right now, that's the goal. If you would tell me, hey, look, it's going to take 5 years for you to see money, so I will tell you probably no. But if it's a really process that if you're investing and working hard for it and you see the results, so yeah, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what I will say to you is, realistically, we expect...
See, because he said if it's really a process, and I just haven't quite picked up on that language in and of itself, which is all I would need to do at this point. And very simple way for you to do that yourself is to just reflect the language back to them. Well, you mentioned there, if it was to be the case, I mean, do you genuinely believe it will be the case or not? There we go. Then we're straight in to the potential limitation. We're straight in to the lack of certainty, which is where the conversation needs to be tailored toward.
Daily, a minimum of 15 hours a week. Is that something you'd be able to manage?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, amazing. And in terms of everything I've been over, is that everything that you have been looking for?
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great to me so far.
Sounds great. So that's once again not affirmative. That's not yes, this is everything I've been looking for. That's it sounds great. Lack of certainty. We need to pull him up.
Sweet. I mean, if you're feeling good about everything, I mean, I can walk you through the next steps and get you moving forward. Does that sound like a plan?
Let's take a look. What you're offering?
But I lack the ability at that point, so as you can hear, I got happy ears, which is why we then have to battle objections here toward the end, which luckily I knew how.
Sweet. So to get full access to the program, including the private mentorship, one-on-one calls, everything that I've just been over, it's a one-time investment of $7,500.
Mhm.
But what Andrew allows me to do for those who are ready to take action, draw that line in the sand, like we said, is take off $2,500 today, bringing it down to a one-time $5,000 investment. How does that land with you?
On-call incentive. Now, this was something that was very popular, more so popular back then than it is now. You don't actually see many offers doing this whatsoever anymore, where it was an argument to effectively spark urgency. Like, the price is $7,500, but if we were able to move forward today on this call, it's $5,000, and we can knock $2,500 off the price. The reason as to why I don't personally think that that's a good marketing technique is it's very barefaced, and it creates false urgency. It's almost a cop-out for individuals that lack the ability to create urgency within their own sales process. Because at the end of the day, I shouldn't need to offer somebody a discount in order for them to move forward. I should have built enough internal certainty in themselves to be able to move forward regardless of the price.
Keep going.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay. And what is making me be sure that those $5,000 I'm not just throwing the money away? And how long is it going to take me to return that investment?
So, like I said, usual return on investment is easily within the first couple of months because we leverage.
Yeah, see, I'm once again going more so down, I would say, the amateur closer angle here because he's raised a concern. So if I were to invest this $5,000, how long is it going to take for me to attain a return on investment? I can't say that for certain. Nobody can say that for certain because nobody can predict the future. What I need to tailor the conversation more so toward is what makes you ask out of interest? Oh, just so that I can know like whether I'm going to get my money back or not. Well, at the end of the day, of course, me and yourself can't predict the future. The only thing that we can actually take control over is the inputs that we have. I suppose the more apt question would be, are you ready and willing to be the individual to put the necessary workload in and effort in to ensure that this business has the highest possible chance of success? Yes. Because would you agree that at the end of the day, that's all we can do? That's more so the angle that I would want to take with the conversation now, because we want to eliminate this guaranteed success, guaranteed outcome mindset, because that just isn't the case in business.
0% interest business credit. So within your first sales cycle, the usual ROI is 60%, right? But obviously the net is around 30% average. So you're already going to be looking to turn over 60% profit per sales cycle. And you can get through, I believe, around 3 to 4 sales cycles each month if you're very efficient with it, which, I mean, with our system, you are going to be, as long as you listen to the coach's instructions, you really do, follow everything we instruct you to do. So
you're saying that if I'm investing $5,000 in the program, within 2 months, I will return the investment.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I can't give you a 100% guarantee, but I mean, nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed except, death and taxes in this world.
There you go. Good job for me to do the lean out there, because we never want to provide somebody with a guaranteed outcome or guaranteed success on our calls. That would be highly disingenuous, and we certainly don't want to use that as a marketing technique. So I've given him the logistics of the situation, which is, I suppose, the average in regard to the ROI that people were receiving within the program. But I have lent out there and said, look, at the end of the day, I can't give you a guarantee if that's what you're asking for.
I'm giving for myself the 100%. I'm not telling you, hey, I want to get back my investment and not doing anything,
No, I mean, like I said, obviously, it's not going to come around in a week, but certainly within the first 2 months, that's for sure.
And $5,000, but
I would have been a lot more cautious with the vocabulary that I just used.
It means that on top of it, I need to put some more money.
Rather than ever saying the word certainly, I would have said, but there's a high probability based on the average that within 2 months you could have re-incurred your investment. That's the language you want to be using.
In order to get started, no?
So our coach would walk you through setting up and getting your 0% interest business credit. So you're not going to need to spend any more of your personal finances besides that $5,000.
Oh, okay. So it's $5,000 for the program and start selling.
Yeah. So it's $5,000 for access to everything we've just been over. And then the coaches are going to walk you through step by step how to actually get the business set up and then invest with business credit on how to, buy stock, set the shipping up, all of that's covered.
Got it. So I want that will be clear to me before. So you're saying 5,000 for like to get started, and I don't need to after those 5,000. I need to open an account and put another 2,000, 3,000, 5,000.
So the $5,000, just to make it like crystal clear, the $5,000 is the only money that you are going to need to put forward from your own, personal account savings and check-ins. When it comes to the money that you're going to be using to buy the products, sell the shipping center, things like that, that's all going to be done with 0% interest business credit.
Understood.
And you're never going to pay interest on that business credit.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. How does it work if I want to think about it a little bit?
Here we go.
I mean, if you really...
And now we're getting into the objections. How does it work if I want to think about it for a bit? Classic think about it objection. Here we go, Ethan. Let's see how we handle this.
If you want to go and think about it, you can. I mean, I would ask, what is it that you'd like to think over?
There you go. Not bad. I mean, I always acknowledge the objection first. So whenever somebody says they need to go away and think about it, as I've done here, I've said, well, if you need to go and think about it, of course you can. I would maybe tailor that, make that a little bit looser nowadays. So I would say, okay, I mean, I understand it. Of course, it is a big decision. I suppose in regard to you going away and thinking about it, what is the purpose of that? Or what's actually coming up for you? That's what I would ask to gain clarity on what that actually means, because I think about it, objection is a smokescreen. Think about it can mean absolutely anything. It can mean a vast number of different things. We have to gain clarity first before we tackle the real objection behind the think about it.
I would love to do some more research. This is number one. I'm not the kind of person that is holding someone, and I'm not gonna disappear. You see, I made on time. I told you that I'm 100% gonna be. I'm sure you have not serious people that like scheduling the call and not answering. I'm not the kind of.
If I'm honest, I would have figured out a lot earlier on in the call already. Like there was a reason why I was asking you, quite a few of those questions. But the one thing I do want to ask, in terms of you needing to do more research, if we're honest, you
I really cannot emphasize enough to cut out the if we're honest. Do not say that.
You said that you're confident this is what you've been looking for. And
definitely.
And you think that it can get you the results.
I'm confident, but I want to make sure that within myself, I did the maximum, between me and myself. It doesn't matter if Ethan is going to be here or someone else. Doesn't matter. And I'm in sales as well. Okay, I'm in sales as well. All good. So I want to make sure that I made a decision after 100% that me with myself made the table clear for me.
Yeah. Okay? I mean, with you being in sales, in essence, it's going to make my job a hell of a lot easier.
So I always use this when somebody says, I'm in sales, like I understand what you're doing. I'm in sales, I understand how this works, I understand the process. Because that is, once again, a defense mechanism. That's somebody saying, look, I have knowledge, I have expertise in the what you're trying to do, in the way in which you're trying to manipulate the conversation. But at the end of the day, that isn't what we're here to do, because if somebody who is in sales understands the real reasoning as to why you objection handle the other individual, it's because you should be sat on that call with the other individual's best interest at heart. And if you know for a fact that they have agreed that if they were to move forward, it would enable them to get to XYZ goal and escape the current circumstance of which they're not fully satisfied with, then it is your duty to do absolutely everything that you possibly can to enable them to step out of their own way so that they can finally make that decision for themselves. So somebody being in sales should make your life a lot easier, because they should want you to fight for them. In fact, most of the time, if somebody's in sales and they still give themselves objections, then there's a big problem there.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if I really didn't care about you, if I'm being honest, what do you think's the first thing I would say to you?
If you wouldn't be care about me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, if you could have like a little think on it, what do you think I'd say?
Not sure where you're going.
I'd tell you to go away and think about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why?
Probably. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's for me to make sure that I'm making the 100% good decision. Like that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, just
see how that 100% good decision has now come back up as an objection in the conversation, because we bought into the ideology of the 100% mentality from the beginning that I highlighted. And there's the issue. This individual still holds the belief system that they need to be 100% certain before moving forward with something, but that is never the case in business. That is never the case in investing a large sum of money into yourself to excel your career. Because at the end of the day, there is always going to be a level of uncertainty. You just have to become the individual that's ready and willing to face up to it.
To process at the end of the day.
100%. But
You need to process.
The reason why, if I can be honest, why I'd tell you to go away and think on things is because we have been thinking on things for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
If we're being totally upfront and honest, you said you've wanted to have your own online business for years now. And everything we've been over on this call, like what I mentioned before, you know how no matter what, that fear is going to boil back up. And
No, all good, man. I want to make sure that you guys are the right people for me. If I want to do it, yes. I want to make sure that I want to choose you. That's the only.
And how are you going to come to that conclusion? Is the question. Because the only path that we would now need to go down is isolating and highlighting the fact that he will never be able to know for sure whether we are the individuals that he wants to go with for certain, because you're never going to know until you've actually started. Simple.
Only thing.
Okay. I mean, I can totally understand that. What is missing then when it comes to that level of trust that you're looking for?
Honestly, nothing is missing. It's the only thing within myself that I want to make sure that this is what I want to do for sure. A time with myself to close the eyes and like tell myself, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm choosing Andrew and Ethan.
If you don't mind me asking, is this something you want to do?
Look, I'm just being very direct there because that is a fair question to ask. Like, he's saying to himself, I need to go away and ask myself whether this is something that I genuinely want to do. But given the fact that over the course of the last full conversation that we've had, he's mentioned repeatedly that this is what he's wanted to do, I'm just going to ask him directly, because at the end of the day, that's not a question that you need to sleep on. You should know that by now.
What?
Is this something you want to do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I see he's just contradicted himself immediately. I've just asked him directly, and he's just said, yes, this is definitely something he wants to do. But 30 seconds ago, he said that was the reason why he needs to continue thinking about it. This is why you have to be very direct at times with your questioning, because it will just completely unpack this house of cards that the prospect is trying to build.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So what are we going away and thinking on?
Because that guy, it's a big decision, and if it's a big
100%.
decision, it's like you're going. Have you ever bought a car? Did you ever went to the dealership? Okay, have you ever went to the dealership? They showed you the numbers and like make a decision on spot.
Well, the only car I've gone to buy was a car that I'd been looking at for a while. I knew I wanted to drive that car. I'd been thinking about getting the car. I went to the dealership and then I bought the car.
So I went yesterday.
Which is completely true. Toyota GT86, my dream car. I saw it online. I'd been looking at that car for a long time. I went and I bought it on the spot, paid in full for the car in cash. Like, this is why when people try to externalize and push their belief systems onto other people, I'm not having it. I won't tolerate it. Like, I'm not the type of guy who's going to go around and test drive a bunch of different cars and riff-raff between the car salesmen before coming to a decision. Because if that's the identity that I'm going to embody, then what do I expect other people to do with myself? Like, be decisive in your own life. Build your own internal certainty and conviction. Don't try and externalize that onto somebody else.
To see a car that I want as well. They showed me the numbers, but then you're going to the bank. You need to make sure that the numbers they give you are making sense. So it's like,
do you think the numbers are making sense?
Oh yeah, man, everything is good. I'm not telling you, look, Ethan, I don't feel that I trust you.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying?
I definitely see what you're saying, where you're coming from. But again, I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision for me. It doesn't matter if I'm going to talk with Ethan or anybody else.
And how are you going to do that? This is where I lacked the skill at the time to understand how easy objection handling can be. The number one rule that I tell all of the guys inside congruent closers is you always want to see whether you can ask a clarifying question first before going for a challenge or a reframe for the most part. And a very simple rule of thumb is, can I ask a what or a how question to a statement that they've just made? Simple. Can I ask a what or a how question? If you can't, fair enough, move on to your next question. Perhaps go for a challenge. But if there is a definite what or how question you could ask it. That's what's going to make your life so much easier, because then the prospect is going to unpack the solution for themselves.
That's good. I'm not the kind of person that is going to not answering you.
The thing I just want to ask is, what do you think would need to happen for you to finally feel ready to make this jump?
There we go. Boom. That's the what question. Nice work.
I'm ready. I never said
You're not. You're not.
I am.
If you were ready, we'd be shaking hands.
Because I want to make sure.
This is how direct you need to be, because I've gone through a couple loops with this individual. Granted, I will admit I am a lot better at objection handling now than I am here. This could have been maneuvered and the conversation could have gone a lot smoother. I feel as though we could have resolved that objection far quicker. But now, because we've already gone through a few loops with this individual, it's time to just be very direct with him. It's time to actually hold the mirror up to him, to have him acknowledge that, look, at the end of the day, we need to face up to this.
So that I am, making sure that I want to do it with you guys. That's all.
That's my question. Like, what would need to happen in order for you to be sure?
I want to make sure 100% that the money that I'm going to put, I'm not going to lose them. This is the number one.
Can I address the points as you say them?
Yes, please.
You're never going to be 100%. So it's like, I mean, do you know Warren Buffett?
Of course.
Yeah. So obviously he's like one of the greatest investors of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Warren Buffett had only ever made an investment and made a bet, if he was 100% certain it was going to bring him a profit, he would not become one of the richest men on earth.
It's not 100%. It's
That is a congruent closes copyright analogy. Copyright analogy that I invented back in April 2025. If you have ever heard somebody else use that analogy, that was my analogy. That was my analogy that I used for the very first time back then. Copyright.
I'll do it for you that way. It's 41%, which means that I have 49% of risk, but at least I have 1%.
Oh, we're not even at 41%.
No, but at least I have the 1% more that I'm sure.
What percent are we at now?
I'm not sure yet. I need to process. That's why I want to process.
The reason why I say that is, so taking more time in and of itself isn't going to increase your percent. It's more than likely going to decrease it. That's just statistically probable. So, I mean, have you been skydiving?
Yes.
So,
the old school classic skydive analogy, boys. Every single closer watching this right now should know exactly how this goes.
When you get up to the top and that anticipation's building as the plane's getting higher and higher and higher, and then they open the door, like the longer you take to jump out of the plane, the harder it gets. It doesn't get easier. It just gets harder. So would you not agree that going away and pondering on things and thinking on things could potentially just make this a more difficult decision than it already is?
No. Look, it's not a difficult decision. All good. I'm with you, and I know that you have the small fear that we will hang up the call and you're not going to hear from me as well. It's not anymore. It's not the case.
It's not a fear for me personally.
Not a fear. I mean, I know that you want to.
I would genuinely feel as though it would be wrong of me to not do everything with my power to help you to come to a decision that I know is going to benefit your life.
Boom! Oh, when people even try and argue that I am not the most congruent guy in the closing space, it is just a laughing stock. It's a laughing. There is nobody, no sales coach, nobody in the sales space, no matter what they say, that is more congruent than myself. I have held the same values in my life from the very beginning. I have not changed. My career has not warped me. I have been the same individual from the very beginning to the very end, and that is why it is now my duty to make the sales space more genuine again. And you guys can see the evidence of that. This is the level of congruency I have embodied from the very beginning of my career, because that's how passionate I am for helping people actually get out of their own way and better their lives.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would genuinely feel like it would go against my morals and it would go against why I do this job in and of itself if you said, I want to go away and think about this. Yeah, go on. Because at the end of the day, I truly believe that you going away and thinking on things isn't going to provide you with any further insight than what we already have on this call today. Would you agree with that?
With what? Say again?
That going away isn't going to provide you with any further insight than what we've already covered on this call today.
again, the only thing that I want to make sure with everything that you said, that I want to do it with you guys. That's the only thing.
So in all honesty, do you want to jump on different
Oh, see, it's so easy. I should have just asked, and how are you going to do that? That's it. That's how easy that would have been to open up.
calls with other people and see what they have to offer?
Actually, no. I'm not the kind of I'm not the kind of
So we can tick that off then.
yeah. So I'll tell you what.
Mhm.
I can make a decision today
Mhm.
if we will reduce the price. Then we will start talking business.
Okay. So is it a case of, on a genuine level, logistically, $5,000 in a lump sum is just a lot of money? Or
Yeah.
is it a case of $5,000 is just an uncomfortable figure for yourself at the moment?
It's just
So notice how I don't just immediately get happy ears and jump straight back at him like, yes, of course, we can do a payment plan. No, we want to unpack the reasoning behind why somebody asks for a payment plan in the first place. Is it logistics, or is it still a lack of certainty? And is there still a fear present that they're pretending isn't there?
a lot of money for me to put it right now after
Okay.
an hour, 1 hour call with someone that I respect you and all good man. I like the thing that you're saying, but it's an amount that like it's a big expense. So I want to make sure I'm giving that amount to the right people.
I mean, there are ways in which we could work something out if that was essential. But at the end of the day, the one thing I do want to ask you genuinely, like you're a businessman, you know what I mean? You do very well, like you said, you're making very good money. I know the cost of living in Los Angeles is probably biting you in the arse, but we're here to get you making $15,000 a month every single month, and to finally give you your own business that is giving you that, if I'm honest, respect that you've been looking for. I think to know that you're actually putting money into your own pocket. Do you feel as though that's worth $5,000?
It is, but I want to make sure that it's going to happen. So it's like, you know what? Why not start with $100,000?
Why not start with $100,000?
Yeah, why not? Let's because it's a huge risk. So for me, $5,000, it's a huge risk. So I want to do that jump. Definitely 100%. We already passed that. If I want to do it or not, want to do it. If I'm serious enough, or not.
I can
Notice how the individual who says he's making great money, good money, living in a place where his outgoings are like $7,000 to $8,000 a month, apparently $5,000 is a huge risk. Like, this is why you have to be very careful when you get egotistical prospects jump onto a call. And I'm not saying egotistical in this very like condescending negative way. I just mean that there are people with varying levels of ego. It can be a subconscious character trait of their own. But this guy is a testament to that, because if he were in such a great, good position, then a $5,000 investment wouldn't be such a high risk investment for himself.
tell you want to do it. That's why we're still on the call.
Definitely. I just want to make sure that I see progress before. And I'm not telling you, hey, let's start with $500. All good, of course not. But I think that 5,000 is a little bit more than than I expected. That's all.
Okay. I mean, obviously $5,000 is a lot of money. Most people don't just have $5,000 lying around that they're.
I wouldn't buy into that frame, so I definitely wouldn't buy into that ideology, because at the end of the day, me saying $5,000 is a lot of money in comparison to what? Because $5,000 is a lot of money comparatively to an individual's total income and the amount of savings and the amount of money that they have. Like Elon Musk isn't going to say that $5,000 is a lot of money, right? There's the thing. So we can't buy into the generalized concept that it is a lot of money, because if that is the case, then people are going to maintain putting it up onto a pedestal that makes it seem like it's hard to achieve, hard to attain. And if you say something is a lot, then you're already putting it out of your grasp, putting it out of your reach. Whereas if you say it's, if you minimize it in a sense and say that it's very close and it's very within reach, it makes it more achievable.
Able to throw into something like this. But is it a genuine case of we don't have the $5,000, we need to like sell a kidney in order to get it? Or is it a case of we genuinely are looking for a guarantee, in essence, certainty that.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I can never shake your hand and say, I'm going to give you a 100% guarantee that this is the outcome you're going to get in life, because I'm never going to be able to do that. But I have been, as upfront and genuine with you as I can be on this call. I think we've got an amazing conversation. And my word's only going to go so far. You're going to view everything I say with a level of bias, which I understand. But if you've seen from the results we've gotten already, and if you've seen at the scale at which Andrew's grown this business, like I said, we've got over 400 members.
Yeah.
People make fantastic money through Amazon FBA with our guidance and using our systems. And I can tell that you will do the same. I don't feel as though you need my encouragement. I don't feel as though you need my words. I think this boils down to, do you believe, after everything we've been through, that you can make $15,000 a month working with us?
Ooh, okay, that's good. So at this point, I'm effectively planting certainty into him, which is, there will come a point in the call at which you have to do this. If somebody is still highly hesitant, highly fearful, highly uncertain, there is only so much that Socratic questioning and asking them questions to get them to come to their own conclusion, there's only so much impact that can have. There will come a point at which you have to sell them on the service itself. You have to speak about how this will be able to get them to their goals, to give them that confidence, because your conviction will then transfer into them. However, I tied it off on the back end back to his self-belief, back to him as an individual and the identity he is holding, so that he can then answer that, because that is where the real power lies.
Definitely, and I can make even more. The only thing that, the only thing is that I want to start with a little bit less money. That's the only thing.
The thing is, obviously, when it comes to buying the product, obviously, I know it's not going to be your own money. Like I said, it's going to be with business credit. But I've got to be honest with you, that's not going to feel comfortable either. You know, when we ask you to buy $10,000, $15,000 worth of product with business credit, that's going to feel like a massive investment. That's going to feel like a big, big risk.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be willing to face that risk. Everyone does when they first start out.
Yeah.
So do you feel as though you're going to be able to handle that uncomfortability if we're not able to handle this first step?
If you
That is a good frame for me to take there, because it effectively sets him up to have to acknowledge that, given the fact he needs to face up to an uncomfortable decision further down the line, therefore he would need to be able to face up to an uncomfortable decision to even begin with.
if I see results and all good, yeah, I mean, no problem. It's an investment. I mean,
It's before the results, though. You know, we see the results after. Like, once you get on board, we see the results. We're not seeing the results now.
oh yeah, but you told me that I don't need to put more money. So as long as it's business credit and I'm not putting more money from my pocket, all right.
I mean, even with credit, it's uncomfortable, though. That's the thing. Because, hey, we've got a profit. We've got to pay it back.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, do you feel as though you are at a position where you're ready to face something like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Then what's stopping us, man?
Again, it's a big decision. I want to make sure that I'm gonna make it with no issues. I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision. That's it.
Why do you think there's going to be issues?
Who knows? Because you never know. Like you said, it's never 100%.
You're never gonna know. And the biggest regret people have at the end of the day is never taking the shot.
Correct. Yeah, and I didn't say that I'm not gonna take it. I just said that I want to, make sure that this is what I want to take.
I know the reason why I'm, grilling you, if I'm honest, this is an uncomfortable conversation, isn't it? Let's be honest.
All good, man. I mean,
it's because your actions aren't congruent with what you're saying. If I can be very
upfront, here we go. Just super direct with him. Just call him out.
With yourself, because I've been asking very specific questions to genuinely try and find the root, in essence, so we can kind of get to where that is.
Yeah.
But every time I ask a question, you agree with me, and then you revert back to, but I need to know that this is something I really want to do. But then
there's nothing. Yeah, I understand. But
you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. But there's nothing to do with you. It's just that it's just the number,
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that this number I'm comfortable with.
Okay. I mean, have you heard of Affirm before?
About what?
Affirm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know Affirm? Like, you've probably seen it on Amazon when you go to buy products, things like that.
I'm not sure.
So in essence, what we can do is we can split that $5,000 right down into like financed, easily available sums. And obviously the biggest catch that people highlight is that it comes with interest, when you pay it smaller increments. However, we turn off auto renew. So the big thing I have to clarify to people is you're not actually going to be paying any of the interest, because we pay it off way sooner than the amount of time it gives you. It can give you 24 months, 36 months, things like that. So you'd be able to get on board at the discounted rate. So you save the $2,500, you get in for the $5,000, but you can break it up dependent on certain factors. Obviously, we might need to walk you through like setting up an account, which takes about 5 minutes. But at that point, that might actually kind of take the edge off for yourself, do you think?
What is this plan exactly? How it works?
So what we do, we need to get...
I should have explained that just a lot more smoother, a lot more concise. You don't want to overload somebody with information. Just make it as clear and concise as you can.
Get the Affirm app on your phone, which you can just download now on the App Store. Have you heard of Klarna?
No.
Okay, so it's a simple thing. So in essence, you get the app. It's a payment scheme in essence. I'll send you over the link. You tap it, you click pay with Affirm, and then it will say, rather than paying it in full, rather than paying $5,000 in one big go, we can split it into chunks, and you can pay it off over time. In essence, then you can pay the $5,000 in.
I think this was genuinely, if I recall, which I'm confident it is, this was the first time I'd ever actually pitched that financing option. So that's why I waited till this point to actually introduce it, because as you can see, I'm quite rusty. I didn't necessarily have the right knowledge and the ability to be concise with this.
6 months, 12 months, things like that.
Okay. And how much do I pay per month?
So that depends, because you have to put in, your income, your household income, things like that. And it takes those into consideration in terms of the options that it gives you. I mean, would you be open to kind of walking through the steps with me and seeing what numbers we can get?
Yeah. Why can't we just, I'll be upfront. Why can't we just, I'm okay with starting in the 3,000 range. That's where I'm at.
Okay, let me have a little look. I mean, at the end of the day, I've already knocked $2,500 off. So in terms of reducing the actual total price,
That's
we
what
we can't drop it any lower than $5,000 because you've already got a 33% discount.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we're here to make money. I mean, not us, you. Like you're investing $5,000 in order to make $15,000 each month. So saving yourself $2,000 when you're going to be making $15,000 a month, is that really worth it?
Again, as you said, it's not 100%. So I need to, it's like, I need some.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Aviv,
Aviv,
I can never give you 100%.
I know. So that's exactly what I know. You're not. I'll do it, but
you'll never get 100% from anything.
that's why for me it's 5,000. It's too much, and I'm not looking for the 100%. I'm
Okay.
looking for
How
something
about
that me myself is
look,
comfortable with.
what I can do? Let me have a look, because at the end of the day, I can tell that this genuinely is something that you are. I mean, you clearly want to do it. Let's be honest. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
What we could do is, what if we were to do 3,000 now? So 3,000 now, you get on board. In fact,
Okay.
this might actually work even better if I'm quite frank.
Right. Okay.
We chop it in half, right? We do $2,500 now. You get on board. We'll get you onboarded with the coach. You can actually see the systems, start getting the ball rolling, get everything set up, and then you do $2,500 next month. Once you've already got everything in place, you've started things at half the price, and you can kind of already start turning the profit over for the next payment.
Sounds good.
Amazing. Let me grab a link for you. 1 second.
Boom. So, as I said, in the objection handling there, could have been a lot smoother. There was a how question that would have cracked that right open and made my life a lot easier. And throughout the conversation, me buying into the ideology that we needed to be 100% confident is what then did end up biting us in the arse toward the back end, as you can see, because he still lacked certainty and conviction. Even before I dropped the price, after the pitch, when I went for the value confirmation, you could tell from his uncertain language, I should have pulled him up there and then. So there was a lot of pre-handling that we could have done within this process to make that portion of the call toward the back end with objections way easier. And this is why it is so important for you to actually have a powerful framework when it comes to your sales process, because the framework that we now use inside of congruent closers would have handled that call like so much simpler, so much easier. And I still managed to get the call over the line. How? Through my congruency, through my conviction. You saw it yourself. I did not give up on that individual. I fought in his corner tooth and nail, and we gradually unpacked those layers to the point at which it came down to the fact that the lump sum investment was just past his level of certainty. It was past his level of capability in regard to the fear and the scarcity he had around the investment in and of itself. So a payment plan was necessary toward the back end. I certainly wouldn't have dropped the payment down to 25. I would have just gone straight for 3 because he'd said 3 himself. So I think back then at this point, because we'd gone in so many circles and because this was very early into my sales closing career, I think I just wanted to bag myself the sale. I wouldn't have done that going forward. I definitely believe I could have got 3,000 from that individual up front, which at the end of the day, you want to get the most cash on the table you can up front as a high ticket closer. Of course you do. Firstly, you get more commission, but secondly, it's more of a buy-in from the prospect and more of a buy-in into the business itself. However, this video here was a testament as to how confrontational you should be on your sales calls, particularly when dealing with high ego type A prospects like this that put up barriers, put up guards, and begin to externalize the reasoning behind why they haven't accomplished their goals sooner and why they've stayed in a position at which they're not fully satisfied. So you need to stop buying into this, oh, things are good, things are great, and feeling as though, oh, I couldn't close him because he didn't have urgency, he didn't have any real pain. Notice how we managed to build the gap with this individual and actually take the conversation from logistics to emotion to identity through pulling him up on the language he's used, not taking his responses at face value, and revealing the layers beneath the surface that actually got us into that level of depth in the conversation. And this was how I was operating toward the beginning of my closing career over a year and to a year and a half ago. This is how I was operating on my calls. So if you would like to learn sales, to learn how to close at a highly advanced level so that you can pre-handle objections like this, so that you can adapt mid-conversation dependent on the prospect and maneuver your framework so that you can actually enable type A's and type B's and type C's, type D's, everybody to get out of their own way and actually buy at the end of the call, actually invest into themselves and overcome fear, then head to the link below. You can head over to my Instagram, where I also post up plenty of content, and shoot me a DM on there if you'd just like to have a genuine chit chat. Or you can head straight to the Calendly link to book in an introduction call with myself. That would be a 20-minute call for me and yourself to jump on. We can have a chat and actually get to know each other better first. I can figure out where you're at with your closing skills at the moment, where you're looking to take things, and whether it would be a great fit for you to be inside of our community. And then if things are well and good, we could jump onto a follow-up call at which I could walk you through the service and then get you onboarded. But regardless, I hope this video has been helpful. As I said, going forward, I am now going to try and upload a few more, if not as many as I can, full-length live sales calls of my own, as you can see from me closing real sales calls, unlike a lot of these sales coaches in the space that have no evidence of them actually having the closing skills that they preach about. But either way, I hope this has been useful. If it has done, head to those links, drop a like on the video. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.